This episode of Tekzilla is brought to you by Jack Threads.
Time to get our AC Nation on. Brian writes in, I am moving to Brazil in the next year. I want to know if I could bring my LED HDTV with me. I recall a time when this was an issue due to the PAM NTSC conversion issue, but now most of the time you're hooking up a TV via an HDMI connection. This is a digital connection, so it shouldn't have conversion issues, right? If I assume that I'm hooking up my US LED HDTV, which uses an ATSC tuner over the air via HDMI cable, this is an acronym festival, to a cable or satellite box, I should be in the clear, correct? It should work without any video transcoding issues, right? I just won't be able to watch TV over the air since Brazil uses the Japanese HD over the air standard of idsb-t, which is likely incompatible with ATSC, but frankly, that's not a concern. Any insights are greatly appreciated. Brian in transit.
Acronym fest.
You say it's not an issue not being able to watch over the air in Brazil until you start seeing the television in Brazil and you're like, I just want to watch this. It's weird. It's different.
I'm telling you. Hey, as far as HDTVs nowadays, good news is that the power requirements for your typical television, actually, they include switching power supplies that are good about handling a variety of different voltages, usually from 10 to 240. I have an example here of a LG television, and you can see right here under its power specs, it shows that it'll actually accept voltages from 100 to 240 and 50 and 60 hertz. And other than that, you're going to be okay with the power. You might need a plug adapter though if it's going from something like a spade design to a pin design, but that's about it.
They basically want to make the fewest amount of changes to an HDTV. They want an HDTV as sort of world compatible as possible. So they anything they can standardize worldwide, so they can basically order more of that part for worldwide distribution, the more likely they are to do it.
It's good for all of us.
Yes.
And with the popularity of the HDMI spec and HD video formats like 720p and 1080i, the cable connections and the HD video signaling has standardized pretty much as well. Now, you will be talking about something as far as Blu-ray playback, region codes. Now, around the world, here, actually in the Americas, we're covered under region code A, or region 1 actually, and so the disc players and the TV should play nice. And of course, Brazil is also included in region A as well. So.
And Japan and much of
much
of Asia too.
You should be pretty good there. And you're correct about an ATSC tuner that's used for over-the-air TV reception here in North America, in Korea, and elsewhere, not being compatible with the Brazilian digital television system. Now, they actually have a pretty sweet TV system that they've been working on. It's a newer system than we have here in the United States or in North America. Their system actually uses the superior H.264 MPEG-4 AVC encoding standard, and perhaps even more importantly, they're using a royalty-free interactive platform that's based on Java. Sun actually gave this technology over to the government, and what it really enables is that you're able to have set-top boxes and TVs with the technology needed to access this signal without having to pay money for it, which is a problem we have here in North America, where there's probably about 50 different different companies you got to hand money to in order to build a TV nowadays. And this really makes it, this is one of the neater things about it. So if you have time, check out that article on Rob Glidden's website. It's pretty fascinating look at what other countries are doing as far as broadcast goes, and what I hope the US will be doing going forward with their next over-the-air standard.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Matthias writes in, hey, Veronica, Patrick, and Robert. I was planning to build myself a new PC, and I decided to go with an ITX main board, so I'm only going to have one PCI Express slot, which will be used for a graphics card. That means there's no free slot for my existing Creative sound card. However, I'm watching a lot of Blu-ray movies on my PC, so I need an external sound card to connect with my existing speaker setup. But I can't find any device that will allow me to decode high-quality Blu-ray audio streams. The ones I found just let me output a 48 kilohertz, 16-bit, not encoded audio streams. Do you have any suggestions? Thanks. Love the show. Matthias.
I love Mini-ITX motherboards.
They're tiny.
About 6.5 inches on each side square. Tiny. Here's an example of one I actually use currently in my home theater PC. Good old Intel desktop board, the DH67CF. This baby's loaded. It actually has my video outs built in. I'm able to, just by dropping the CPU in, and it has the GPU built into that. I'm able to do everything I need. But if you want to experience Blu-ray's high-quality, lossless audio formats, it's time to ditch the PC speakers in favor of a dedicated AV receiver that would drive, say, a set of stereo speakers or maybe a 5.1 setup or more.
Get a 5.1 setup.
There you go.
It's time to dump the sound card. You have a beautiful optical out on your motherboard. Send that to a proper AV receiver.
There are plenty of inexpensive AV receivers out there, starting at about $165 on up. You can find something nowadays that will not only provide HDMI switching, also it will provide decoding of those lossless audio formats. And AMD and NVIDIA graphics hardware, well, nowadays they will stream those lossless Blu-ray tracks through an HDMI or DisplayPort to HDMI connection, and that will feed quite nicely into one of those AV receivers. And I suggest a decent home theater to box kit as an alternative if you don't want to go out and buy separate components. But everyone I've seen so far, as far as the HTIB kits, the home theater in a box kits, they integrate a Blu-ray player, and that's something you already have, so you may not want or need it.
Onkyo does some pretty good where it's just the receiver and the speakers in a box. The other thing is, if you're on a budget, upgrade the receiver now. Go from the the HDMI out on your computer to the receiver to the home theater, or excuse me, to the HDTV, and then use your existing speakers until you can upgrade to a better set of speakers and a subwoofer.
Now, I'm unaware of any USB sound card. There are a couple of good ones out there, though, that supports full quality output from Blu-ray movies, the lossless audio formats. Unless, and I need to check on this, but unless the software is decoding everything into a PCM stream, and then the sound card could drive that to the speakers. That would be the one thing, and I just need to check my PC software to see if they actually offer decoding on the PC and then out via PCM.
And if you're thinking about emailing us about how, well, you cobbled together 7 discrete amplifiers from the early days of home theater systems, and that we really should tell this viewer to take the sound card output to 7 discrete amplifiers and run it out to the speakers, we'll hook you up with them directly.
Oh yeah. Now it's time to thank one of our sponsors. Hey, only suckers pay full price. If you love alternative apparel brands like Kid Robot, Hurley, and Stussy, but hate wasting all your cash on them, listen up. You can score these premium brands at up to 80% off every day. There's a new invite-only shopping club just for guys called Jack Threads, serving up street, skate, and surfwear brands at prices that will melt your brain. There is a wait list to join, but if you head over to jackthreads.com/TEK, you'll get instant access to all their killer hookups. Go now! Oh, and did we mention that it's free to join? Hit up jackthreads.com/TDK and you'll instantly start saving without having to leave the house.